Guys, this phone I'm holding right now, the WhatsApp message I received last night at 2:47 a.m. changed my life forever. My hands are literally shaking while filming this, because what I'm about to show you, this message was sent by my dad's 20-year friend, retired Detective Michael Harrison. And what he wrote in this message, I can't even believe I'm about to share this with you. I'm Emma. I'm 24 years old. And I usually film daily vlogs, lifestyle content, maybe some college stories on this channel. But today is completely different, because the message I received last night at 2:47 a.m. It shattered everything I thought I knew about my father's death. For the past 5 years, my family and I believed that my dad, Robert Chen, died of a sudden heart attack. He was 54, worked for the Department of Internal Affairs for over 20 years, seemed healthy, no major health issues. One day in March 2019, he just collapsed at work, rushed to the hospital, but they couldn't save him. But Uncle Michael's message last night. Guys, I need you to see this for yourselves. Uncle Michael Harrison was my dad's partner at the department for almost 15 years. They worked together on various cases, went through training together. He was like family to us. The message said, Emma, I can't sleep anymore. I need to tell you the truth about your father. What we told your family, it wasn't the whole story. Robert didn't die of natural causes. He was eliminated because of what he knew. Meet me tomorrow if you want to know what really happened to your dad. I stared at this message for 3 hours. I couldn't sleep. My dad eliminated? What does that even mean? What did he know? Uncle Michael always seemed like such a straightforward, honest man. Why would he lie about my father's death for 5 years? Let me give you some background. My dad worked for the Department of Internal Affairs from 1995 to 2018. The department handles internal investigations, misconduct cases, classified operations review. We always thought he was just a regular administrative officer, processing paperwork, filing reports. My dad was quiet about his work. Even at dinner, if Mom or I asked about his day, he'd just say, oh, you know, same old bureaucracy. Or nothing interesting, just files and meetings. He never brought work home, never talked about specific cases or people he worked with. But now that I think about it, there were some strange things. In his last few months, Dad became more paranoid. He started checking the locks twice before bed. He'd look out the window frequently, especially at night. Once I caught him going through our mailbox very carefully, like he was looking for something specific. Mom noticed it too. She asked him several times if everything was okay at work. Dad would just brush it off, say he was stressed about his upcoming retirement plans. The night before he died, I remember Dad coming to my room. I was studying for my finals. It was my freshman year at college. He sat on my bed and said something that didn't make sense at the time. Emma, if anything ever happens to me, remember that I loved you and Mom more than anything. And remember, not everything is what it seems. I thought he was just being overly sentimental. Maybe having a midlife crisis or something. But now I realize he was trying to tell me something. At the funeral, Uncle Michael was acting very strange. He kept looking around nervously, like he was expecting someone. During the service, he sat far from us, which was unusual because he was Dad's closest friend. After the burial, he approached Mom and asked quietly, Sarah, did Robert leave any work files at home? Any documents or papers? Mom was confused. What files, Michael? Robert never brought work home. Uncle Michael looked relieved but also worried. He handed me a small piece of paper and whispered, Emma, when you're older, call this number, but only when you're ready to know the truth. I was 19, grieving, confused. I put that paper in my wallet and forgot about it for years. Last week, Mom decided we need to move to a smaller apartment. Dad's life insurance helped us for a while, but it's time to downsize. We were going through Dad's belongings, clothes, books, personal items we hadn't touched since he died. Mom brought out Dad's old work briefcase. Emma, Maybe you want to keep this? It has some of his papers, maybe photos. It was a black leather briefcase, very official looking. Dad used to carry it every day to work. Inside, I found typical work stuff, old ID badges, some printed emails, official forms, but at the bottom, wrapped in a plastic sleeve, there was a notebook. A small black notebook with Dad's handwriting. The first page had dates and cryptic notes. January 15, 2019. File 47A review assigned February 8, 2019. Irregularities found in historical cases. February 18, 2019. Meeting with director canceled. H warned me. February 25, 2019. February 28th was exactly 3 days before Dad died. The next pages had names, addresses, phone numbers. Some names I recognized, they were public figures, politicians, business leaders. Next to each name were dates from the 1990s and short codes like OP clean, case resolved, method. The last entry in the notebook, in Dad's shaky handwriting. If something happens to me, Michael has instructions. The truth must be preserved. File 47A contains evidence that will shock the nation. The people involved, they've built their careers on lies. After reading this, I immediately remembered Uncle Michael's note from 5 years ago. I found it in my old wallet and called the number. Emma? Uncle Michael's voice was tense. You finally called. I've been waiting. Uncle Michael, I found Dad's notebook. What is file 47? There was a long silence. Then, Emma, we can't discuss this over the phone. Meet me tomorrow at Riverside Park 3 p.m. Come alone. And Emma, be very careful who you trust from now on. Yesterday afternoon, I went to Riverside Park. Uncle Michael was sitting on a bench near the lake, looking much older than I remembered. He's 62 now, retired in 2020. He was wearing sunglasses even though it was cloudy, kept looking around. Emma, before I tell you anything, you need to understand. This information could put you in danger. Your father died protecting these secrets. Are you sure you want to know? I told him yes. I needed to know the truth about my dad. Your father wasn't just an administrative officer, Uncle Michael began. He was a senior investigator specializing in cold cases and historical cover-ups. In his last assignment, he was asked to review old files from the 1990s, cases that were officially closed but had inconsistencies. What kind of inconsistencies? Deaths that were ruled accidents or natural causes, but the evidence suggested otherwise. Missing persons cases where the investigations were suddenly dropped. Witnesses who disappeared or changed their testimonies. Uncle Michael explained that in late 2018, there was a government initiative to digitize old case files. Dad was one of the senior officers assigned to review these files before they were archived. But during his review, he discovered patterns that troubled him deeply. File 47A was your father's code name for his investigation into these patterns. He found 23 cases between 1993 and 1998, where prominent people, journalists, activists, opposition politicians, business rivals, died under suspicious circumstances. All these deaths were officially ruled as accidents, heart attacks, or suicides. But Dad found evidence they were actually murders. Not just murders, Emma. Assassinations. Professional hits made to look like accidents. And the most shocking part, the people who ordered these killings, they're still alive today. They're now senators, governors, CEOs of major corporations. They built their power by eliminating their enemies. Uncle Michael pulled out an old phone. Your father recorded his final conversation with me. He called me the morning he died, terrified. Listen to this. He played an audio recording, audio simulation. Michael, it's Robert. I'm calling from a payphone because I think they're monitoring my regular phone. The 47A investigation. I've gone too deep. I have evidence that could destroy careers, bring down entire political dynasties. But they know. Someone leaked that I was investigating. Robert, you need to drop this case. It's too dangerous. I can't drop it, Michael. I have proof. Photos, documents, financial records. There's a whole network. Politicians, businessmen, law enforcement officials. They've been covering for each other for decades. But if I expose the... Robert, think about Emma and Sarah. Is it worth risking your family? That's exactly why I have to do this. Emma deserves to grow up in a world where the truth matters. I'm going to make copies of everything. If something happens to me, you'll know where to find them. The recording ended there. Uncle Michael's hands were shaking. 6 hours after this call, your father collapsed at work. Officially heart attack. But I knew better. I knew Robert was in perfect health. He exercised regularly. No heart problems, no family history of heart disease. So you think he was poisoned? Emma, there are ways to induce heart attacks that leave no trace. Especially if you have connections in the medical field, access to certain substances. I felt sick. My father was murdered, and everyone covered it up. But here's where the story gets even more twisted. Uncle Michael told me that my dad hid the evidence somewhere before he died. File 47A, all the documents, photos, recordings, they're hidden somewhere waiting to be found. And Uncle Michael thinks he knows where. Your father mentioned hiding the files in a place only family would think to look. Uncle Michael said. He said Emma would find them when she was ready. When I got home, I started thinking, where would Dad hide something important? Somewhere only I would think to look. I remembered Dad's study. He had this old desk that he'd had since I was little. Sometimes when I was a kid, I'd sit with him while he worked, and I'd play with the drawers. One drawer always stuck. The bottom right one. Dad used to joke that it was Emma's secret drawer because only I could open it properly. I went to the desk and tried the drawer. It was still stuck. But when I pulled it in the specific way I remembered from childhood, lifting up while pulling, it opened completely. Behind the drawer there was a hidden compartment in the desk. Inside the compartment, a USB drive, a manila envelope full of photographs, and a letter addressed to me. The letter in Dad's handwriting. My dearest Emma, if you're reading this, it means something has happened to me and you've grown up enough to start asking questions. The USB drive contains file 47A, evidence of crimes that have been covered up for over 20 years. The people involved in these crimes are powerful. They've built their success on the graves of their victims. I collected this evidence because I believed the truth needed to be preserved, even if I couldn't expose it during my lifetime. I'm leaving this decision to you. You can destroy these files and live a normal, safe life. Or you can continue what I started and risk everything to bring justice to the victims. If you choose to continue, trust Uncle Michael. He's the only person who knows the full truth. But be careful. These people have resources, connections, and no moral boundaries. Whatever you choose, know that I love you more than life itself. You are my greatest achievement, and I'm proud of the strong, intelligent woman you've become. Your father, Robert. The photographs were shocking. Pictures of crime scenes, official documents with signatures, bank records showing large money transfers. But the USB drive, that's where the real evidence was. I plugged the USB into my laptop with trembling hands. There were dozens of folders, each labeled with a case number and date. I opened folder 4. The first case, journalist David Corman, died March 15, 1995. Official cause, car accident on a rainy night. But Dad's file showed Corman was investigating corruption in a major construction project. 2 weeks before his death, Corman received threatening calls. The car accident happened on a dry night. Weather reports showed no rain. The other driver was never found. Corman's investigation files disappeared from his office the next day. Dad had found surveillance footage from a nearby building that the police never reviewed. The footage showed a second car deliberately ramming into Corman's vehicle, then fleeing the scene. Case 47A08. Environmental activist Lisa Rodriguez died August 3, 1996. Official cause suicide by drowning. But Rodriguez was an excellent swimmer, former lifeguard. She had recently discovered illegal dumping by a major corporation. Her suicide note was typed, not handwritten. Witnesses saw two men following her the day she died. Her research on the illegal dumping was never found. Case after case, the pattern was the same. People who posed a threat to powerful interests died under suspicious circumstances. Their deaths were quickly ruled accidents or suicides. Investigations were brief and superficial. Evidence disappeared. But the most shocking discovery was in folder 47A current. This folder contained recent surveillance photos, bank records, and phone transcripts. Dad hadn't just investigated historical cases. He had discovered that the same network was still active. One transcript from February 2019, just weeks before Dad died. Voice A: the investigator is getting too close. Voice B: which investigator? Voice A: Chen. Robert Chen from Internal Affairs. He's connecting cases that should stay disconnected. Voice B: how much does he know? Voice A: too much. He has files going back to the night. Voice B: we need to handle this like we handled the others. Voice A: clean and untraceable. Voice B: of course. Make it look natural. Heart attack, maybe. He's the right age for it. I stopped the recording. They were talking about killing my father, and they did it. But the most terrifying part was the next folder, 47A targets active. It contained a list of current targets, people who were investigating or threatening to expose the network. And at the top of the list, my name, Emma Chen. Status monitor for now. Seeing my name on that list was like being punched in the stomach. It meant they knew I existed. They knew I might eventually ask questions about Dad's death. They'd been watching me for 5 years, waiting to see if I'd discover the truth. I immediately called Uncle Michael. Emma, you found them, didn't you? Uncle Michael, they have my name on a list. A target list. I was afraid of that. Emma, you need to be very careful now. Don't go anywhere alone. Don't trust anyone you don't know. And whatever you do, don't contact the police through normal channels. Some of them might be compromised. So what do? I can't just pretend I don't know this. You have 3 choices, Emma. First, you can destroy everything and never speak of this again. Live your life, stay safe. Second, you can give everything to me, let me handle it through my remaining contacts in law enforcement. Or third, what's the third option? You can do what your father couldn't. Go public. Make it impossible for them to silence the truth by silencing you. But Emma, if you choose this path, your life will never be the same. These people have unlimited resources and no conscience. I thought about it all night. My father died trying to expose these criminals. He left me the evidence because he believed in justice more than his own safety. This morning, I made my decision. I'm going public. This video is just the beginning. I'm going to release the evidence gradually, not all at once, because that would make it easy for them to discredit or suppress. But piece by piece, case by case, I'm going to tell the world what my father discovered. I know this puts me in danger. By making this video, I've probably signed my own death warrant. But I can't live knowing that my father's killers are still out there, still killing people who threaten their power. Some of you might think I'm crazy, that this is just a grieving daughter's conspiracy theory. But everything I've shown you can be verified. The documents, the recordings, the photos, they're all real. Tomorrow, I'm releasing the first case file. David Corman, the journalist who died in 1995. You'll see the evidence Dad collected, surveillance footage the police ignored, witness statements that were suppressed, financial records showing payments to the killer. If something happens to me after this video goes live, you'll know why. But I've made sure the evidence will survive even if I don't. Multiple copies are with trusted people. The truth will come out. To the people who killed my father, I know who you are. I have your names, your faces, your methods. You destroyed my family, but you didn't destroy the evidence. Dad was smarter than you thought. And everyone watching, please share this video. The more people who know this story, the safer I am. They can't silence everyone. My father died believing that truth and justice matter more than personal safety. I'm going to honor his sacrifice by finishing what he started. Subscribe to this channel. Hit the notification bell. Because this story is just beginning, and you won't want to miss what comes next. The truth is coming out, and there's nothing they can do to stop it now. Before I end this video, I want to say something to my mom, if she's watching this. Mom, I know you told me to let sleeping dogs lie, to move on with my life. But I can't. Dad raised me to stand up for what's right, even when it's dangerous. And to Dad, I know you're watching from somewhere. I found your files, Dad. I understand now why you had to try. And I promise you, your death won't be in vain. The truth is coming, and justice will finally be served. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video, if they let me make one.